Unfortunately, I'm not shocked. That's the thing. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised one bit about what occurred at MSG. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another postgame here on Rangers Central, and the Rangers lose 3-1 to the Florida Panthers in the revenge game, the first game since they met in the postseason. And if you've been watching the past, every single game, if you've watched every single game this season, excluding the Pittsburgh one, I'll say, if you've watched every single game, this result shouldn't surprise you, because how many times was I saying it in these post games? It is great to beat these teams that you're supposed to beat, and I'm not going to dismantle them, and I'm not going to discredit them for beating the teams that they're supposed to. You beat who's in front of you. But I did say during those games, you are not going to beat a Florida Panthers level team playing that kind of way in the D zone. Long and behold, how would I describe that game? Waste of time, annoying, aggravating. This is crazy too, because all we heard from the coaching staff and all we heard from the players rolling into the season is that they took pages out of Florida's book and that they learned from that series and all that other stuff. I saw the ass opposite tonight. Spare me the it's game 7 of the regular season crap. Here is a chance to go out there and prove your worth in a measuring stick test to the team that just kicked your ass last year. Instead, you give that flat of an effort when Alexander Barkov's not in the lineup and Mika Zibanejad still looks like shit. So what's the excuse now? If this was a scenario where, here's the thing too, because I know everyone's gonna be like, but the record. I would not give a rat's ass if this team was 3-3 going into the night, or so yeah, let's say 3-3, 2-4, and they went in and curb stomped the Florida Panthers, because that proves to me that you're playing the right way, and that proves to me, and that's the most important thing, is playing the right way in those games, of course, and that proves to me that you could beat this team. This was a big game. This was a bigger game than we're making it out to be, and I get that to some people, and if you are going to sit here and tell me it's 7 games in stuff, then this is not the stream for you, man. It's just not the stream, and I recommend closing out, because you're not going to like anything I have to say tonight then. It's just flat out embarrassing that Mika Zibanejad is your number 1 center, and he's constantly needing Artemi Panarin up on his line to help drive the play. Really? All right. Lafreniere was the best forward the entire night, and his shifts were cut back towards the end because of the fact that the rest of the team looked like garbage and they broke up that second line. That's the point we got to in this game when Mika Zibanejad's playing poorly. Vinny Trocheck has not been off to a great start this season, and that's also a problem, but he didn't look great tonight. I mean, it's the same guys who struggled in the series last year. It's the same guys. Jacob Trouba, turnovers left and right. Braden Schneider, turnovers left and right. Keandre Miller was a tire fire yet again. Adam Fox was not great yet again. Against this team, I should say. Ryan Lindgren should not be in the lineup, because I don't know if we still have to talk about that, how we are 7 games into the season, he's playing with a full face shield. And this is what's the most infuriating part too. And Victor Mancini, by the way, was a tire fire as well. I don't want to forget that. But you have a young defenseman who would have thrived against this type of team that you sat in the playoffs last year because of Eric Gustafsson, and you sit him yet again. Why are we sitting Zach Jones when you lost to this team last year in the conference finals the way that you did? The way that their defense plays I mean, it's night and day. Like, did you look through it? Look at this game without the Rangers' eyes for a second. And tell me you weren't sitting there thinking, because I know I was all night long, thinking, why the fuck can't that be us, man? Like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, early in the regular season. Well, what's the excuse with Florida? Because I'm watching them getting in on the forecheck. I'm watching them suffocate us in the neutral zone. I'm watching their penalty kill suffocate the Rangers in the neutral zone. Where's that urgency? Where is that type of play? Because instead, I watched the defense make poor pinches, not making tape-to-tape passes tonight. Once again, an issue. What a surprise. And when they were making tape-to-tape passes, it was east-to-west movement in the offensive zone, which you would think over the course of a 6-game series, when you could see it, the casual fan could see it, the diehard fan could see it. Steve Valiquette screamed at nauseum about it last year during the playoffs. The way you score on Bobrovsky is to shoot high on him, and especially shoot on that blocker side. Nope. Instead, it's more of the same. And what was Laviolette's answer, which I'm not thrilled about his coaching tonight? Zero adjustment. Zero adjustment. It was just the Gallant special of throw the lines into a blender and see what comes out of the blender. So I'm not thrilled with him. Granted, clearly this is also a personnel issue. That's not to excuse the personnel, but there was zero adjustments, like, strategically yet again. And Paul Maurice continues to make this team look stupid. The best line tonight, because I said Lafreniere was the best forward, the best line all night long was the fourth line. How did they get rewarded? Stapled to the bench for pretty much the entire third period. It's just infuriating. It just sucks, because this was a game where they could have really proved to myself, other fans that agree with me, and fans of just every hockey team. And I get, again, it's 7 games in, but this was a measuring stick game for you. And there should have been way more urgency in this game when it's a team that kicked your ass last year in the conference finals, and you go in there and lay the fattest egg imaginable. And I get Bobrovsky made some quality saves here and there, but after the first period, were they really doing much offensively to impress you? Because I sure as hell wasn't impressed outside of the first period with the offense. Because, you had a few rushes, like Philip Hedl played fine in terms of generating some rush opportunities every now and then. That's great and all, but outside of that, were we really impressed? But you could also say the same argument for the Panthers, that there was a lot of meat left on the bone for them, with how many opportunities that Shesterkin took away from them, because once again, he gets challenged way too much because his defense is piss poor in front of him, and he has to save like 20 high danger chances. The problem isn't that it's 7 games into the season. The problem is we have years of a sample size, and I will continue to say this because I know that I'm going to get the comments, and I'm going to say it every time they lay this much of an egg. Especially when it's the core guys who, in the last dance, you would think would show some urgency. That's the problem. It's the same song and dance with this core, and it's against the quality teams. Mika Zibanejad played one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. And that's saying a lot with how much he has pissed me off lately. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play in his NHL career. losing every single puck battle. That turnover that he had too. What are you doing? And it felt contagious because there was another play too where Riley Smith, I think it was the second goal where Trouba, I mean, not reading the passing lane well, but Riley Smith along the board still gets in. He's not eating the puck there. Instead, turns it over and loses a board battle there. That gives an opportunity. I mean, it was just pathetic all around. The second line has zero interest in playing in the D zone, by the way. And that's another huge issue that we've talked about ad nauseum every single game this season. But it really gets glorified when you play a cup caliber team, which again, they are missing their number one center and beating you this way. Look at the difference in the way Florida is able to utilize the transition game. The way that they're able to get the first pass out of the zone quickly, the way they're able to generate rushes, the way they're able to force turnovers in the neutral zone and clog the neutral zone in general, because I said this as well. Again, I just feel like a broken record here. I've said this at least every post-game show this season thus far, and maybe even dating back to last year. What's the point of setting up in the 1-3-1 in the neutral zone if you're not going to clog them in the neutral zone? Because Florida had no issue with that. I don't know. Again, just a pathetic effort, pathetic loss in a game where you needed to prove a lot more. You needed to prove a lot in this game. I mean, there's no way around it. Like, spare me the it's 7 games stuff. This is a game that you gotta win. Fucking cat. All right, before I get to the chat, leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you guys are new. I don't even remember if I did the intro and everything, but turn on your notifications. I'm sure you guys have a lot to add to the conversation from what I've already missed, because I'm sure I missed quite a lot. I mean, I'll quickly review things. I mean, the other thing that I could really add that I didn't bring up too is the fact that that third period, I was jealous of the way the Florida Panthers are able to play a shutdown period, because they're generating the opportunities that come to them and still just suffocating the Rangers in the neutral zone and D zone, preventing them from getting anything. I wish that was my team. I wish, because I'd be sitting here talking like the most cocky motherfucker night in and night out if that was my team. Because, yeah, I mean, 45 seconds in, they allowed that goal. Yeah, you had Miller with that step up and Fox losing board battles. Not being able to tie guys up in front of the net was also a problem all night long. Miller leaving Bennett, by the way, for that tipping goal on the third goal. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, Keandre Miller was dog shit tonight, if I haven't made that clear. But yeah. Let's see what you guys are saying. Mika's awful. I expect a lot of those comments tonight. Mika did not compete tonight at all. He looked terrible. Ugly game, basically. Beat subpar teams. Since he signed that contract, he's been brutal. And this is another thing that I did forget to get into, the power play. How many times have I had to sit here and bitch and moan about the power play being stationary and not being creative enough? Once again, Spazia and Lindgren are killing the team. I mean, this is beyond those two tonight. Obviously, both of them were terrible, but Keandre Miller was terrible. Riley Smith was terrible. Chris Kreider was terrible. Victor Mancini was terrible. Pretty much the entire roster was terrible, if you can't tell where that's going. Again, PTSD, you and I both, literally nobody was good. Just make Heedle the 1C because he and Laugh were the only good players. Pretty much, yeah, it's pretty much where the list ends of what you got from the small amount of good tonight. Horrible. I don't know where to start. Too much to say. Where to even start? Too much to say. With what went wrong. If we can't beat this team, we won't be ready for the postseason facing this team again. That's my exact point, Raymond. They're really running it back. Yep. Let's be honest with ourselves. We saw this coming when we saw it on the schedule. Yes and no, because you would think if, let's put it this way, going into the season, if they weren't lying to our faces about how they learned lessons and shit, which, I mean, I felt like they were full of shit, and I've been at a point where I have to see it to believe it with this group, because no words are going to make me buy into this crap anymore. Like, it's do it and get it done, or I'm not moved. Like, that's really what it comes down to. There's just no words that anyone, coach-wise, personnel-wise, could say to make me feel differently about that. But yeah, if you watch the first 6 games, especially the last 5, you knew that this was not going to be pretty, more likely than not. But I thought maybe with Barkov out of the lineup, you would have a chance, but no, apparently not. Fox is the laziest, weakest skater in the D zone. Miller can't play the position. Sloppy passes, 0 compete level. Fox is making $9.5 million. Yeah, I mean, a lot of laziness going on tonight. Florida Panthers without arguably their best player. Yeah, Spanish, I better be glad Barkov is hurt. Could you imagine on the next matchup? I don't want to imagine that. We are really going to put less money into this team and go more in the Igor. The lineup gets worse from here. And yeah, that I won't even get into that tonight. Barkov is not even playing, and Mika looked like shit. This is why we can't be moved with games against the Canadians. Pretty much my summary of the last game, yeah. Is that it's great that you beat the team in front of you, and you're supposed to beat them, but that doesn't mean you could play that way against the Panthers. I mean, it goes without saying. That's just the truth. Rangers didn't learn anything from last year's playoffs. Panthers skate, Rangers glide. Panthers are quick and always ready to head to the opponent's zone. Yeah. If they played a good defensive game all night and they lost a tight 2-1 game, then I'm like, cool, you ain't going to go 82-0. But this is infuriating how it was a carbon copy of the ECF, and that's why I'm on the same page, because I know that there will be the people that say, oh, what do you expect them to go 82-0? You won't be happy. I've said it time and time again. Play the right way, get in the playoffs, and I don't give a rat's ass about the record. Because once you're in, if you're playing the right way, you are going to win the most important games of the season. I don't give a rat's ass about racking up wins against the Detroit Red Wings in October, but you're playing the most sloppy games imaginable to get it done. I care more about doing what the Florida Panthers do, which is play their game, and it results in more regular season losses, but when they get to the playoffs, they have all of what they needed down pat, all of the mistakes and all the bad habits, they get shaken off, and they develop the habits that are needed in the playoffs, and you see the difference in where they go. Sorry, I think I got booted off the stream there. I'm starting to lag a bit. I don't know if it's bad. Is the lag bad still? I don't know if I got cut off at any point with what I was saying, but just let me know if I did. That was a terrible game by our first line. Yeah, laughing, hate, we're fine. Felt like I was watching last year's playoffs all over again. We have improved 0. Riley, who? I mean, yeah, Riley Smith was not great tonight. Tonight showed that Florida is still the team to beat. Mika is not a 1C. He's weak and pathetic. Doesn't win any puck battles. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't capitalize on opportunities. They just don't. And Steve Alcat was talking about that too, about how this team scored like 9 breakaway goals last year or whatever it was, and you could just allow this team to get breakaways. Like when Edstrom set up Brodzinski on that goal, which Edstrom I thought maybe is the only other guy you could say that played decent tonight. But when he fed that opportunity to him, it's like, come on, man. Like, bro was invisible. Yep. Panthers running circles on the Rangers all over the blue line. No puck control. So many turnovers and poke checks, blocked shots. Yeah, pretty much. You need puck movers on D. Yeah, and let's sit our best puck mover, arguably. And I agree. If I'm Zach Jones, I'm asking for a trade yesterday. They refuse to dump pucks in and win puck battles. Laugh needs to be on power play 1. I'm tired. Yeah, I agree that Laugh has to be on power play 1. I get your point, Dave, that the Rangers could have had more goals because Bob was stopping so many. But again, the problem is after the first period, they were not generating nearly enough quality opportunities. Florida has the ability to make those adjustments that are necessary during the intermission. They come out and just neutralize the Rangers entirely, and you didn't see this offense generate dick pretty much the rest of the game. As a Panther fan, your level of physicality lacks a lot, even back to last year. Sort of. Because they don't need to necessarily play the most physical brand. I mean, if you mean winning simple puck battles and board battles, then yeah, it's terrible. And that's a problem. You have too many guys that just are not committed enough to grind in the areas that are needed to win. That's the issue. And it's rinse and repeat. Our decor needs to go. That's another thing that really just had, like, it had to drop tonight during the game nonetheless. That clip of Darren Dreger talking about how 20 teams were interested in Jacob Trouba. Cannot believe Chris Drury let him whine his way into staying. I mean, I can believe it, but it's just terrible. It's fucking terrible, man. Yeah, I mean, this is true. Barkov and a Robin slipper still outplayed Mika tonight. Barkov from the ice bath. Zero accountability. I mean, I'll see. I'm gonna see what the post game quotes are after this because I'm very curious about what's being said right now. The way the Panthers play in the third period is how we want the Rangers to play against Montreal. Go up 3 or 4-1 and play solid shutdown hockey while clogging the neutral zone. Sadly, this team still can't do that. Yeah. Similar to games 4, 5, and 6. And yeah, the funny part is there was that tweet that Paul Maurice watched game 5 this morning Clearly he did. And for a team that learned its lessons from last year, the fact that he was able to take the same game plan from the playoffs and apply it to this game shows he learned jack diddly shit. Coming out that soft against a team that bullied you into elimination last year in the ECF is sad. Yeah. Rangers could do all they want with coaches, systems, and players. The core bums are just soft and just a joke. I have nothing to add to that because, again, another thing I'm a broken record with and I've said for years now, I'm at a point where I don't know how much more I could say it without it being repetitive. Like, I'm getting annoyed. Like, the thing that's angering me is how many times I have to say it at this point, because I'm not surprised that it's happening. And when I'm watching the games, I'm not angry. I'm angry when I come on here and talk about it because I'm repeating myself every single night, pretty much. I disagree with this to an extent. I don't love what Laviolette did in this game. I'm not going to give Laviolette a pass tonight one bit, but I can't sit here and solely blame coaching and solely say this is the coaching that is spiraling out of control when it's the same group failing to get it done. Same group. Sorry I hurt your feelings, Darnell. That's my fault. I forgot that you have to be a professional hockey player to talk about what's going on. It's not like, analysts that watch the game and that have played the game see the same thing as me. That's my fault. I forgot that I can't say anything because I didn't make it at the professional level. That's my fault. I'll put my hand up. I gotta shut up. It's my fault. People on the internet, man, are just not real. It's just fucking hilarious. This rotation of players needs to stop. I don't know why they're even doing like a wheel spin of who's playing defense right now. And then we have Laviolette saying they're not going to rotate defensemen. Why is Zach Jones here then? Why is he here? You are just wasting the development of... you're just ruining the development of what could be a crucial piece for your team by continuing to clog his spot on the roster. Rangers get beaten on the board so easily. Florida pinches and cuts off every entry exit by the blue line. They couldn't get anything going. They played shutdown for the second and third period. Exactly, yes. Once they had that lead, there was no turning back. And once again, that's another key point I forgot to even mention is slow starts continue to be an issue with this team. They continue to start off slow every single night at this point. And, that's why I've said you can't keep doing that. Because when you play a team like Florida, who, once they have the lead, has that ability to shut you down for the rest of the night, you're not going to win. They're not, I'm not, the only reason I'm not reading any of the Mika trade comments right now, because I see some of them, I'm not reading those because there's really no point in talking about that. He has a no move clause. As much as I would love for a change in that regard, it's not going to happen. Yeah, the compete level is just not there. And adjustments are needed, but it doesn't matter if you try to make but you're right about the fact that there's only so much you could do when you either, one, don't have the personnel to just get it done, two, when you don't have the compete level, or three, when it's both. I mean, sure, they'll bounce back maybe and win. Like, I'm not disputing that. Listen, here's the thing. I'm not disputing that it's an 82 game season. They're going to lose games. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying they're never going to win a game the rest of the season. I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoffs. But it's the principle of a loss like this that is just unacceptable, and especially to look that pathetic in this game. Because like Matt said earlier, if they lose this game 2-1, but the defense is up to par and they're generating opportunities and Bobrovsky's just robbing them, okay, it happens. You got goalied. Like, fine, it is what it is. But it's the fact that the compete level was non-existent. And I love that the fans in attendance tonight, even though it was very quiet in that building, I love that the fans that were in attendance and that when they were making noise, it was booing. I love that because for once we have standards around here, which I absolutely love. That's the way it should be with this team, that there are standards and there's an expectation that this team needs to beat the best to be the best. I play semi-pro basketball, and even at one point in my life, I played hockey. It is what it is. I really just don't care. Because that logic makes no sense, because Wayne Gretzky's the best hockey player of all time, and he was shit as a coach, so what does that have to do with anything? The Panthers' mentality is deny the blue line and gas up breakaways. The Rangers' mentality is stand around, watch Igor pull a rabbit out of his ass while juggling chainsaws. Same shit every time, yeah. And just the pathetic like stick checking too when they are in the D zone. It's like you said, they just want to watch Igor put on a show for them. It feels like. I mean, there was the one where Igor on the penalty kill, I believe it was. I think he robbed Verhaeghe there with the glove in the crease, just sprawling across to make that glove save. And you have Adam Fox just stick checking there and just admiring the save instead of actually doing anything about it. And I mean, I've been saying this for a while, but let's see if we have any player quotes at all though. And yeah, T-Rich, this was their vengeance tour in a game where they played the team that eliminated them last year. You are correct. Laviolette, it seemed like we didn't have the pop that we needed to beat that team. That's on us. We've got to be better than that. I mean, yeah, it's the same story. And part of this is on him because that third D pair was not out there for one shot on goal for until the third period, like late in the third period too. It just feels like we're on a cycle. And yeah, I mean, I've been advocating for this for years. I've advocated for further from something that won't happen at all. I've said for a very long time that I really, really, really want somebody to get their letter stripped at the very least, but that wasn't going to happen. We're not going to get a scratching either. It just seems like that's just what it is with this team. And that's the unfortunate part. But hey, it's fun to be in the Final Four every year, isn't it? Isn't it just so fun? Trying to see if there's any other quotes at all, but I don't see anything at all. Let me keep looking. Damn, I also got distracted with a little parlay. I had Luca. You couldn't get me 2 more assists tonight. Let's see. I looked through Vince's Twitter. Let me look through Molly's Twitter. Laviolette, I didn't like the whole night. I didn't like any of it. Everything tonight goes into a bag where it wasn't good enough. You could talk about 5v5 play. You could talk about the defense, the offensive power play, the penalty kill. I wouldn't say that there's say that that's who we've shown to be so far in the season, but that's what happened tonight. I completely disagree with a lot of that. This team has not been good defensively this year at all. But sure. And then from Laviolette, I thought that they were better in the first. I thought that they were better in the second. They were better in the third. For me, we're better than that. We didn't play the way we need to tonight. I want to love what Laviolette's saying. And it's like, great, we do have that coach that hates these efforts, because Gallant would have just said that they would have brushed us under the rug and said they play well. But it's just like, again, like I said earlier, the words mean nothing to me at this point. Yeah, I don't understand either the argument. It's nights like this where that's my argument, our argument as to why they shouldn't. But I am going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next. And I'll see you guys in the next one.